really interesting to try to, let's say, get inspired from different stuff. Like in the later weeks, for example, I was on tour in America. It was my first American tour.
I know, I saw you were at the Dakota in Minneapolis. I was bummed that I missed you. I was out of town.
Yeah, that's right. And we did like 51 gigs, almost in a row. We did have like a couple of days off in between, but it was really like 31 gigs, and we never done something similar.
Yeah.
And in order to stay inspired, I bought like a biography book about Van Halen. It's one of my favorite rock bands. And instead of listening to Van Halen...
Sorry, was it the Van Halen book or Eddie Van Halen's?
It was Van Halen, the band.
The band.
And of course it was about Eddie and the first and second album.
Right.
And
Eruption is an amazing book just on Eddie.
Oh yeah.
Which is...
And this will be the next book I will both probably buy, yeah.
I'm gifting it to you guys because you're doing my job for me and just taking away. I really enjoy this. I just want to, in case you're walking in right now, we're listening to Matteo Mancuso and Cory Wong, and take it away, guys. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, and then what I was saying is that I was incredibly inspired just by the book, because I was not listening to the records at that time, because I know the records so well that I didn't want to listen to it again and again, because Van Halen 1 is one of my favorite records of all time. But I was so inspired by the stories, by the way the book was written, that when I came home I was so inspired to play, and I didn't listen to anything Van Halen related. It was just the book.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's so important to get inspiration from different art forms, because it will inspire you in a different way compared to just listening to music.
Yeah. And actually, the way that you talk about where you're from, it doesn't surprise me that your geographical location informs your artistry, because to me it is quite obvious. Like if you think about Italian fashion, Italian food, Italian vehicles, and just the culture, I think the way that you play guitar makes sense. And I think that's really one of the things that is why people are drawn to you in your artistry, is because there's something genuinely authentic about what you bring to what you do. Of course, you're an incredible player. The reality is there's so many incredible musicians that are out there, but they're not all saying something that's, I don't know, with the same conviction. Right? It's like, you're a great player, but like I'm not buying it. I don't. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel from here or something, you know. But when I listen to you play, of course, you have a complete technical mastery over the instrument, which is insane. And but more than anything, I think your artistry comes across as very genuine and authentic, and makes so much sense. And I think that somebody who grew up in Minnesota like myself, I just wouldn't be able to do what you do, because I just didn't grow up and don't live in that culture. So I think that's cool that you really integrate that into your artistry.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
You know, one of the things that's, you guys are at different stages career-wise. And Cory, you, Wolfpack, Fearless Flyers, other groups that you play with, Dave Koz, etc. You are a collaborative monster, and the way that you were able to like work into someone else's group, environment, project, you know, and make it make sense. And of course, this new album that you did with the Metropole Orchestra here, you know, is just so wonderful, you know. And I'm wondering, you know, can you talk about the collaborative thing versus doing your own thing? And that's actually to both of you, because Matteo, I know you more from you doing you, not working within a band, you know, within a collaborative kind of thing. Is that in your future? So it's kind of throwing this big question to you both.
Yeah. You want me to start? You want to start? Okay. Collaboration can be hard for a lot of artists, and it can be hard for me as well. But if you find the right people to collaborate with, it's actually quite easy. So, fortunately for me, a big part of my artistry is not just, I'm guitar guy. If I were just like guitar guy, I think it would be a lot harder to find as many people to collaborate with. But just as much as I'm guitar guy, I'm also a producer, arranger, band leader, composer, a lot of these other things that don't necessarily need to be about my guitar. In the same way where you think about like Quincy Jones records, or if you think about Henry Mancini albums, it's not really about them playing. Although yes, like they're involved in it, and it just wouldn't happen without them. I think I'm somewhere in the middle of that, or similar, depending on what you have in your mind as far as what I'm referencing here. But because a lot of the collaborations I do, it's with singers or it's with other groups that have a very specific fingerprint. The thing that makes collaboration great is if I can draw something out of them that they wouldn't have done on their own, and if they can draw something out of me that I wouldn't be able to do on my own, that's really what makes it special. That requires both parties to have a genuine interest in each other's artistry and a general understanding of what each other can bring to the table. And then also beyond that, you have to be confident and secure enough in your own artistry not to be offended if the collaborative party says like, I don't like that. It was like, yeah, but like this is all I got. What do you mean you don't like that? I'm like, all right, you don't like that, like let's figure out another way. Like I think if you're comfortable enough in your artistry and you have enough different things to bring to the table, it can be really fun and quite effortless. That doesn't mean that all of those things on paper have been laid out in front of me in the past and it hasn't worked out as well. That has been the case. Some things just have never come to light, and other things it just took a lot of work to get there. But I think with collaboration, it's just really important that the collaborative parties are secure in themselves and have a genuine interest in having something drawn out of them that they wouldn't be able to normally do. Which most people that are excited about collaborating, that is what they want.
Well, in my case, I don't have enough experience collaborating with other people because my main project was, of course, my trio project. I had the chance to collaborate with a band. It's let's say, it was my first experience outside of my trio that was really remarkable for me. There's this rock band called PFM. It's an Italian rock band from the 70s that got really popular in that time, still is incredibly popular. And at the time they were searching for another guitar player for just one gig in August because Marcus Fogli, their guitar player, was not available at that time. So it was it started like as a replacement for Marco, their guitar player, and then they wanted me to, they involved me into, they said to me that they're gonna record the gig. So the moment they said that, I go, okay, I have to study everything, every minor detail, and I have to, let's say, also bring my fingerprint in it, let's say. Because they called me because they saw some YouTube videos, they really liked what I was playing, so they really wanted to record this gig because of that. And luckily it went well. It was really scary to me because that was the first time, just one shot gig, and they're gonna record it, gonna keep it, no editing, that's it. But at that time was an incredibly positive experience for me because I say to myself after the gig, okay, I can collaborate with other people. If I prepare myself good enough, I can collaborate and bring my own theme with other people. And that was a scary thing to me because back then I was only doing my trio stuff and that was my comfort zone. Like when I'm with my trio, I'm very relaxed because of course I'm the band leader, it's my own tunes, I know them really well, so it's not like a stressful situation. And even if I make mistakes, I'm the band leader, so it's not the same thing when you make mistakes and you are just the guitar player of another band, it's a completely different situation. But that experience in particular was really eye-opening for me. I think later in my life I will decide to collaborate more, maybe with bands or with a project that I really like, rather than just doing my own stuff. Just because I want to see the final result, and not just collaborating. I'm not talking about like doing the guest solo or something, and I'm talking about like collaborating in a musical way. Maybe help some people finish a song, or trying to arrange something in a more personal way, let's say. And that's way harder than it seems, because if you don't do that a lot, it's just like guitar. If you don't practice guitar, if you don't practice arrangement or the stuff, you will get rusty on that particular side of things. So it's something that I would like to work on in the next period, let's say.
All the best with that. And following both of your paths has been one of the joys of being involved with music here. We do have a microphone here. If you have a question, come on up. Tell us who you are and what your question is. Just come on up to the microphone. Tell us who you are.
I am Joyce, and I'm here. And last year, into the microphone. Last year, I went to the North Jazz to see Wolfpack, and you threw the plectrum into the audience and bought it. And the guy next to us wanted to take a picture of it because he wanted to know what kind of plectrum you played. Can you tell more about the plectrum you used?
Yes. I don't think I have one with me. What a pro. Oh yeah, what a good guitar tech here. So I use this pick that's called a Dava. They're maybe the strangest picks because the majority of the pick is actually rubber. And, yep, it's shaped like... I've actually never had to describe this pick to anybody, oddly enough. I get asked, like, what picks do you use? I'm like, it's a Dava medium. For whatever reason, I want to go into somewhat detail right now. It's shaped pretty much like a normal, your standard guitar pick, but it's mostly rubber. And the end of it, though, is, I think it's actually made out of Delrin, but it's a little bit thicker, the actual, like, pick part of it, and it's pointier. And because it's rubber, it's just easier to grip, and it has a lot of flex to it, which is good for the rhythm guitar stuff, but the end of it is thicker, which gives me a little more beef to when I'm actually playing single note things. So I feel like this pick works really well for my style of playing, but a lot of people cannot stand it. Like, you were at the Wolfpack show last year that we played here. Theo and Jack hate using this pick. But part of it is because Theo holds his pick like this. He doesn't hold it straight like this. Well, I actually hold my pick weirder than anybody, but he doesn't hold it like this. It's like got a little bit of an angle. So because he picks at an angle, like where the rubber and the plastic meet there, it's like where it hits, so it kind of gets caught on it. So he's like, I don't want anything to do with those things, but it's just, I don't know. I found out about these picks from John Harrington, who plays guitar in Steely Dan. He's the one who recommended these picks to me, so. If the cat playing with Steely Dan likes them, yeah, I gotta do it.
Tell us who you are.
My name is Timo. First of all, Cory, you've been a huge inspiration for me over the years, so thank you for being a huge inspiration for me over the years. Anyways, my question is, how do you deal with writer's block? I'm a drummer myself, so it takes a little bit more time for me to get a decent chord progression going on my MIDI keyboard, and I kind of get a hasty feeling like, how is this not working? And that really takes the joy out of writing
Yes.
for me, and I'm going to be writing less and less and less. Yeah, my question is, how do you deal with those writing block situations?
Okay, I will. I'll give you my version of a short answer, which isn't that short. And then, I'm curious to hear how you write, because you also write a lot of instrumental music. Writer's block for me, the only time it comes up is when I'm comparing what I'm doing to something that I've done before, or that's something else that's been done by somebody else. So anytime I find writer's block, it's all because I'm comparing it to something else. It's not about being present and writing the thing that I'm doing in the moment. So what I try to do is just not compare it to anything and not give myself the pressure of needing it to live up to anything else. And also understanding, guess what? If I'm done with this 2-hour writing session and I don't feel like the song is great, I can either throw it away, no harm, I'll just show up tomorrow and work, or I can pull it up in a week, think, oh, yeah, actually this is pretty good. Now that I have a little bit of time away from it, I'd make this D flat a C, and I'd change this B flat to a D, or whatever. You know, there's like certain things, you can always go back and change something. You know, and actually in my band, when we play live, the songs now, a lot of the way that we play them is so different than the way that the actual recordings are, especially arrangement-wise. Kind of always morphing a little bit, which is cool. Like, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to keep changing the song. You don't have to just sit down and write it once and then it's done. You can keep changing it. Now the other side of that is, it sounds to me like you just need to get a lot of reps in. Like I've been writing music since I was in 7th grade. I was 12, 13 years old. I've written so much music, bad, good, okay, few really good ones in there, I think. But I've written so many tunes that were just not that great. But it's still just the practice of showing up and doing it. You know, like, if you were a cashier, not every time you ring somebody out, it's gonna be the best. You just do it a bunch and then it's like, oh yeah, I'm pretty good at this now. You know, like there's certain just like things that you can learn just in the task of doing something that you can apply to songwriting. And I think the more reps you get, the more comfortable you're gonna get with just certain things that work. A lot of people think that songwriting is just a gift that you're born with or not. I would say that that's absolutely not the case. Some people have great instincts and have great ears out of the womb, sure. But I think it really is something that, it's a skill that needs to be worked on. It's a muscle. How do you do
Well,
it?
in my case, one thing that helps me to develop the ideas, I always say that I start my songs with inspiration and I finish my songs with discipline. And it's something that I really like to have in my mindset, because anytime I start a song, sometimes I really like it, and then I get to the chorus or I get to the next section and I completely lose everything. Like, I listen to it again and I lose faith in my idea, let's say.
Yeah.
And that's because I was listening to that song too much. And then it's good to have like a break and then go to it again, maybe in a week or a couple of days. And something to keep in mind always, and the things that sounds banal to you or boring, they can sound outstanding to me, or they can sound completely different to another person. So don't judge your own ideas too much, just go for it. And even if it sounds banal to you, it sounds banal because your brain, it's not a fresh idea for your brain. It's because you had it on your mind for a lot of weeks maybe, and then the moment you go on Logic or Pro Tools, whatever you are using, you create it, you already had this idea in your mind for a long period of time, so it's not gonna sound fresh again, you know? So the things that sounds banal to you will sound completely different from every other person on the planet, basically. So yeah, and always a suggestion that I always do, try to write something completely out of your mind. Like, I know that this is gonna sound bad, but I will do it anyway just for fun. I leave it there. But don't judge it, just do whatever you want to do. Don't try to always sound pretty. Just sound honest is always the best way yourself, of course, even if it doesn't sound pretty from the start.
Great question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Start with inspiration and end with discipline. I'm stealing that. I will credit you.
Oh, thanks.
I start with inspiration and end with discipline. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Logging it. I had to repeat it twice just so I could log it.
Matteo, I know that you have a line check that is looming. It's 6:24 right now. Do you have to go? Is Miguel here?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
I think we have
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. I think so. Then we have time for one more question.
My name is Cory Jacobs. I have a question actually for Cory. I've seen you a couple of times right now, and one thing I really admire about you as a band leader, like the shows that you give, is this very high quality. All of the bandmates are having a jam, are having a lot of fun. My main question is more cultural. How as a band leader do you feel in a role where you have this healthy, fun experience for all of the musicians in your band? On the other hand, also these high expectations that you have to make sure.
Yes.
Are there very specific things that you think
Yeah,
about? Or
I think
decisions?
there's a lot of ways that you can approach being a band leader. In my case, I'm very adamant with working with people that I enjoy being around, or that are like interesting to be around. People that are going to be my friends, people that I like actually like. Hey, I got tickets to the hockey game. Let's go. You know, I want people around where we're going to have fun and actually be friends first. And I am very, very particular with the types of musicians also that I surround myself with. I want people that are going to have a very serious dedication to excellence, and people that will hold themselves to a standard even higher than what I would expect from anybody. And I think the wonderful thing about the band that I have is that we all kind of ask that of each other. Like when I get on the stage, the band asks me to be better. And we all ask each other to be better musicians, and we expect that from each other. We expect each other to be present. We expect each other to listen, to come prepared. And also, you know, I think all of us feel a certain duty to give our best, something beyond just like, I want people to think that I'm great. It's just like, no, I have a duty to the instrument. I have a duty to the craft that I need to respect. And I think that's really important.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
I think that's a question that you can address too, because you have a band that you've put together. You had to decide who to play with, so you're already getting used to this job of being the leader and choosing who works best.
Well, I agree with Cory, but in the case that when you are working with friends, it's so much easier.
In most ways.
Yeah. And in my case, like in a trio setting, of course, we are way less people compared to your project.
Yeah.
And we kind of we figure out a way that it's good to repeat every now and then from new material. So I always have a demo with me with the drums and the click and the bass line that I played. But the moment they play that song, completely changes. And most of the time I'm happy with that change. If I'm not happy, we will work around the song and see. But when you have confidence with one person to another, you can immediately say, "Oh, that sounds bad," and you know that it's not gonna be angry about it. You can be honest with it because you know it's your friend. So if he plays something that you don't like, he knows that if I'm talking about the music, I'm not talking about yourself as a person, of course.
Yeah.
And when you have friends on your side, it's so much easier to do that. When you have something that you still don't know really well, in order to say, "Oh, this sounds bad," you need to get around it a little bit. So I love the fact that we are very direct to one another, and this goes like also they say things to me as well.
Saves a lot of time.
It saves time.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about that. There is this like barometer of how close you are with somebody, with how direct you can be. Guitar, my drummer is we've been playing together since college. He's one of my best friends in the world. I can just tell him like, no dude, like what are you doing? No, like no, don't do that, do something else, you know. And then we can bicker and fight back and forth a little bit. And you know, he'll do the same thing with me, like, bro, what are you doing? Like, that sounds terrible. I'm like, all right, yeah, okay. You know, we can fight about it, but other people you have to be a little more diplomatic. Like, my preference is that you don't play fills in the middle of while I'm doing my, you know, the melody of the verse. Whatever. Different ways to communicate with different people, of course, yeah. By the way, I rode down here from the airport with your band. And
yeah, they told me, yeah.
So I can attest, he's not just lying that they're friends. Like, I can tell that you guys are having fun just by like the way they were talking about the tour. They're like, oh yeah, we just did a whole month in the US, and you know, I can tell they're excited to be out on the road with you, and they're excited to play the music. So that's a good sign, rather than to be like, I wish we were playing with you, bro. I hate doing this, man. I'm like, oh, this sucks. I've been in those cars with those people, and that's awkward. Yeah. So you're doing a great thing.
I got one last question, and then we're going to let you guys go. In guitar world, the idea of influences is so important. It's, you know, who you come from, what school are you, you know, out of this, you know, line or that line of influence. Who can you not listen to anymore because they're so good and so influential on your sounds that you've got to avoid them? Is there anyone who has that sort of black hole quality on you, that where they're so good that if you listen to them too much, you know, like saxophonists talk about Coltrane at a certain point, and they go, I got to stop listening, otherwise, you know, I'm going to fall into that. You know, is there anyone in the guitar?
Well, the first one that comes to my mind is Eric Johnson, and there was a period of time where I was listening only to Eric and was learning the lyrics, learning the songs, vibrato just like him, just get the same sound, same rig, and then I get rid of all of that because nobody wants to hear a copy of Eric Johnson. You know, and same thing goes with a lot of players, like Scott Henderson, for example, was a player that was listening too much. And when you listen to a player, just one player too much, it kind of affects you in a negative way, in the sense that you're starting also to copy him, in the sense that you want to learn anything about it. You know? So I always suggest a good variety, a good musical diet. It's always the answer to that. But yeah, Eric Johnson and Scott Henderson, in a period of time, especially when I was at the conservatory, Scott was one of my favorites because he was able to play through the changes, but at the same time was like an incredible, convincing rock player. That's like the school I'm mostly attracted to. And Scott was, still is one of my favorite players, but when I have like tribal tech on Spotify, I try to avoid it because I listen too much of that stuff. And it's amazing, it still blows my mind, but it's too much of that stuff and it will get in the way. Yeah.
Yeah, when I realized, the interesting about my answer is like, there really is nobody, because at this point, I've realized that no matter what I play, I just sound like me. And I think there was a period in time where I would say Pat Metheny and Prince. It's like those two, I tried to emulate in so many ways for so many years. But then I realized and kind of discovered my own thing that I don't have to worry about absorbing. Actually, I can't listen to me. I actually can't stand to listen to my own music. Like I have to play, not that I have to play it all the time. I play it, I write the stuff, I end up producing and mixing my own records. Like I listen to myself play guitar a lot. That
So you're a terrible influence of yourself.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason is sometimes, I know that every musician can attest to this who plays a lot, is sometimes you get sick of yourself, where it's like, oh, nobody wants to hear this again. Like, surely you don't want to hear me do these 47 licks. And you're like, wait, no, like, I've never seen you play before. This is my first time. You're like, oh yeah, nobody here has heard me play me as much as I have. So, you know, I sometimes get in my own head if I listen to myself too much because I have this skewed version of, you know, like how many times somebody has heard me play one song or something. You know?
Guys, there comes this time that I hate at every one of these discussions where we have to cut it off.
You have to cut it off.
We have to cut it off. Will you please join me in thanking Matteo Mancuso and Cory Wong. Matteo is playing at 7:15 on the stage, 11:15 at the dial. We got Cory Wong and his group. Thank you guys so much for taking this time.